Okay, so now that we have our rib design and carved, we need to build the plug. So what I have here is two pieces of foam that have been glued together, one 2-inch and one 1-inch, and it's just had a rough shape sawn out. So what we need to do is to determine what footprint the pot's going to have. So what I've done here is taken a piece of, construction paper and folded it into quarters. So our pot is going to be 11, which is half of 11 is 5.5 by 8, which is 4. And we're going to come out here and make those same measurements, which is 4. But we're actually going to give it a little bit of a bow. And I'll explain that a little bit more in depth as we get along here. This is 5.5, and here is the other. Okay, I always like putting a little bow into the size of the pot. What it does, it keeps the pot, when it's fired, to keep it from warping to the inside, which I think is one of the uglier aspects of warpage that you can do. So if we actually give it a little bit of a curve, that keeps that from happening. And so I'm just kind of sketching that curve in here. Okay, so Adam, what kind of a corner would you like on this pot? Would you like it to be a cut corner? Would you like it to be a very square corner? Would you like a slightly rounded corner?
Let's do a smallish cut corner.
Smallish.
Straight 45s.
Like so.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that suit you? And remember, the pot's out here.
Oh yeah, maybe it should be a little bigger because of the thickness of the clay.
Yeah, well, your cut corner is going to go out here.
Yeah.
That's going to get bigger. If anything,
I think that's good.
So that's going to be a cut corner of about, close to 2 inches, 1 3/4, close to 2 inch of exposed on the outside.
Should be good.
Okay. So there we have it. All right. Okay, now we're going to get a pair of scissors somewhere. So there we have the footprint of the pot, all symmetrical. I kind of eye the curve to make sure that it's fair. And now, we're going to lay it onto our foam. We're going to pin it down so it doesn't slip around. And take out the magical Sharpie. Okay. All we have left to do is cut it out on the bandsaw. Okay, so in our design that we did on paper, we used this bevel to determine the angle of the side of the pot. So we want to transfer that same angle into the side of our plug. And we're going to use this bevel, and we set the table up so it is set to that same identical bevel. So now, with that set, we can crank the guide back down. And okay, so now that we've got the shape all cut out, you'll see that, that there are some bumps left from the bandsaw in the shape, and we need to ferre those bumps out. And what I have here is just a simple piece of plywood with some J-weight sanding cloth. It's 1.5 inches wide. That's been stapled onto it, and it kind of acts as a sanding board. So this will take any bumps and just kind of smooth them out. It's good to sand in one direction with this. I've had problems where you start sanding like so that it'll actually tear the foam. So I've just kind of learned to go in one direction.
It doesn't take long, but it does a lot for the final shape of the pot.
That's it. Okay, now that we have the form cut out, smoothed, we need to, our rib is going to be riding on the top edge of the pot. So if we want to reinforce this foam so that it doesn't dig in, what I found is that packing tape wrapped on the top edge makes a very smooth surface, as well as holding the foam together. So we're just going to take a bunch of pieces, get them on here as smooth as we can get it without wrinkling the tape. Just get multiple pieces. We can just go around the excess on the top here with a X-Acto knife. Trim off this excess. So now we're going to wrap the paper around the foam. And we want to do this with the least amount of wrinkles because that is what's going to affect the inside of our pot. So what I've found, instead of wrapping it like a Christmas present, that we're going to make a lot of little cuts and just keep turning them up and taping each one of the tabs down. So I'm going to start here in the middle, and I'm just going to make a straight cut out. Now I think for this size, I think we probably could make that in, let's say 2 pieces. So I'm going to come in here, make a cut, and then I'm just going to take and divide that in half instead of thirds. Okay. If this was a more curved surface, like if it was much more circular, I would make smaller cuts. But since this is fairly straight, I'm just going to do it in 2. Now we're going to do the same thing over on this side. And the reason I'm doing this side as well, when we start putting the tape on, we don't want it to shift, the foam to shift as we go around the form. So I'm going to get this one put on. And now let's not try to move this foam. So this is where I'm going to start at. So when you bring these tabs up, it's really important that you look down at this corner and look for bubbles. You want to make sure that you have that pulled up as straight as you can so that you don't see a bubble in either corner down there. So this one's going to come up, and we don't want it to go on that cut corner. So I'm going to just make a small mark with the knife, and we're going to start down at this corner. We're just going to make a straight cut coming out. That's going to get thrown away. And pull that up. Make no bubbles. And you see this side is holding everything stable as we work our way around. So I'm going to start over here, right in the middle, and I'm going to make that in 2 cuts. They're small, but I think one would be too few. So now that we have this corner, I'm going to pull it up, make sure it's no bubbles at the bottom. We're going to make 2 more marks. And then we're going to use that to just cut straight off. So we're going to pull that up. Now you see I have some open space here. Not to worry that amount of plug touching the clay itself isn't going to stop the plug from pulling out. So it's actually better that there's some paper missing there than it overlapping. Same thing on as we go around. Make sure there's no bubble. Make a little mark. So now we have this whole thing kind of wrapped up, nice tidy little bundle. And sometimes you will get bubbles that form down here. Maybe you didn't quite get it right, but you know, you can alleviate that just by taking a little razor knife and making a little slash there. And that'll kind of let that bubble go. And when the clay gets on it and compressed up against it, it'll kind of go away. So, but you can see these little gaps. They're not going to hurt anything. And some places where the overlap isn't quite there, you can get it all pushed together. The smoother that is, the smoother the inside of the pot's going to be, and the less time it's going to take to finish out the inside. So, good luck to you all.